Question 39 in the book of questions. I'm only at 39. There are 217 of these. It's going to take me a while. Anyway, do your close friends tend to be older or younger than you? There's a supplemental to this. What kind of people do you like to spend time with? What do such people bring out in you that others do not? What can people learn about you by looking at your friends? I think the supplemental questions are probably better than the core question, but here we go. Straight away, I pick up on this word close. Do your close friends tend to be... I'm not sure I really recognise that in me. Do you have very definite... a set of friends who are your close friends, and you know exactly who they are, and they know that they are your close friends? Do you? Really? Because I don't. I have lots of people who I consider friends. And as for how close I am, what defines a close friend? Is a close friend one you see very often? Because a lot of the people I see very often, I see often because they're a member of the same club or society, and I go there every week, and so I end up encountering them, or people you encounter for work reasons over and over again. But you may not feel that you're soulmates with any of these people, so it's not time spent with them. Is a close friend perhaps someone whom you would feel confident in confiding? You would tell them something which you wouldn't tell other people. I'm not sure that I have close friends like that. I think I'm as likely to confide in a complete stranger I've just met at the bus stop as I am with someone I've known most of my life. I've got oldest friends. My oldest friend I met in a campsite when I was 3. I think she was 2. We were there with our family, to understand. But I only actually see her in the flesh, physically, once every few years, if that. We talk on the phone maybe 4 times a year, something like that. But I feel closer to her than I feel to lots of other people whom I see far more often. So, no, I just have friends. Now then, do my friends tend to be older or younger than you? Well, the two options are older and younger. It doesn't actually have the same age as. And surely in almost everyone's bar chart of friend ages, there's a bulge at people around your own age, because people you went to school with, people you went to university. I probably know, I've got a handful of people I went to school with that I'm still in touch with, far more university friends. So yes, there's a definite bulge in the graph of people around my own age, which I think is perfectly normal. But that's not an option here in the question. When I throw a party, quite a few people who are definitely older than me turn up. Quite a few people turn up with their kids, but I don't think the kids count because I'm not independently friends with the kids. Quite a few people who are definitely a fair bit younger than me turn up. I teach at the university at the Swing Dance Society, so there are people of university age who turn up. I would say that probably if you put all their ages into a great big sum and divided by the number of people, I would probably slightly younger than me but of all sorts of ages. I don't find age is a really good indicator of how well you get on with people. I always find it frustrating when I was a kid and my parents would say, "Oh, you go and play with those kids over there. Go on." "Oh, I don't like those kids over there." "Oh, come on, you're the same age as you. Come on, you'll have loads in common. Go and play." And how would they like to be told? "Well, yeah, go into that room full of people who are all the same. Come on, you'll have so much in common. You're all 47. You'll be fine." Yes, age is no guarantee of affinity at all. So probably slightly younger, but I don't care is the answer to that bit. What kind of people do you like to spend time with? Well, a lot of it is the usual stuff, kind people, funny people, energetic people, people who don't bring me down, people who aren't negative, people who don't say, "Oh, that will never work," and "Oh, you shouldn't do that," or "Well, that won't be safe," or "That would never happen," or "Yeah, well, you would, wouldn't you?" And the people who are just utterly discouraging of your trying anything new or unusual or adventurous. People who are just want nothing to happen, which seems to be quite a lot of people, actually. People who are sharing the fun, I like those. That's one of the reasons I like Lindy Hop so much. The Lindy Hop crowd, they're really good people for sharing the fun. When you go to a swing dance camp, yes, there's the dancing, but there's usually something else happening as well that people throw together, and it's fun. I was for quite a few years a keen member of a rock climbing club, and that was a really good group of people. They partied hard. They really did. They threw an awful lot of social events, and they really went for it. But they were also, and I think this goes with being a rock climber, they were very responsible. If you're a decent rock climber, yes, you're taking risks. Yes, you're going on for an adventure, but also you make sure that your ropes are sound and that you've got someone belaying you, and you're all wearing your helmets or whatever it is. They were responsible, hard partiers, and that's a really good combination of traits. Yeah, really, a really sound group of people they were. And there are people I can remember who just, yeah, well, I suppose you could do that. All right, great reaction to the fun suggestion that I've just made. One of the weirdest experiences of my life was being invited to play a game around at the house of some friends of mine from university who lived not very far away, and it was called Zlarg Quest. I had come up with this term. We were all members of the same live-action role-playing group, and I'd come up with this term. Oh, this is a bit of a sidetrack. Never mind, I've started now. And the Amulet of Zlarg was my term for this MacGuffin that so many fantasy plots have. There's a thing which has to be defeated, a monster or whatever, and the only way it can be defeated is with the Amulet of Zlarg. And of course, the Amulet of Zlarg has been long lost and has been broken into several pieces that are scattered, all of which turn out to be fairly easy to find, conveniently enough for the plot. And various groups of adventurers go out, they collect all the various bits of the Amulet of Zlarg, put them together, enact a ritual, and defeat the monster. What an interesting plot. So, the Amulet of Zlarg. It was my way of mocking that sort of plot. Anyway, they'd come up with this game called Zlarg Quest, of which they were very, very proud. And okay, right, I'll go around and play this game. And better come up with a name for him. Let's call him Richard. Not his real name, but never mind. Richard was there, and I was on good form. Though I say so myself, I was on good form. I was being funny. I was coming up with some really funny stuff. And every time I said something that was really funny, nobody laughed. And everybody looked to Richard, very definitely. Every time I said something funny, they wouldn't look at me, they wouldn't laugh, they would look at Richard. And Richard would react in some usually quite scathing way, yeah, right, and would just bring a down. He was just making sure no one would laugh. I thought this was very strange. The game carried on, and this behaviour carried on, and it carried on and on until, at some point, I said something that was undeniably hilarious. Now, you may say, so what was it then? Too long ago. I was very frustrating with this sort of story. I cannot remember what it was, but it was undeniably hilarious. It was one of the funniest things that has ever been said. And the reaction was bizarre. The reaction around the room was a sharp intake of breath and everyone holding their breath and looking at Richard. What's he going to do? And there was a ridiculously long pause whilst Richard tried to think of some way of suggesting that what I'd said wasn't actually funny. But it was so undeniably hilarious that it defeated him. And so after a long pause, he just said, "Okay, Lloyd, very funny." And what I wish I'd done is I just said, okay, can everyone just stop now? Because I want to know what the hell is going on here. Why do you all have to pay money as a part of a bet if anyone laughs, if I say anything funny? Why is it important that no one laugh at any of these incredibly funny things that I'm saying? And I never found out what was going on there. I fear I'm going to go to my grave still wondering what the hell was going on that day. But anyway, Richard was someone who could really bring it down. And what is the point of such people? Now, there's another kind of person that I don't like, but I do nonetheless appreciate. They are the backbone of many a society. Every reenactment society has at least one of these. They're usually women, but not always. They are very good organisers. they love rules, and they love knowing the rules, and they particularly relish knowing the rules better than other people and making sure that other people obey those rules. And they're not themselves creative, but they love to be around creative people. And they will often say, oh, we did X, Y, Z. We made up a play about such and such a... And I think to myself, okay, I was there. You didn't make up a single line of that play, but you were there at the time. But all right, we made up this play. Anyway, they're very organized, these people. They often end up doing the catering or something like that. And they treat everyone like children. Their starting attitude seems to be, oh dear, well, you are going to try to misbehave and break all the rules, but I'm going to keep you straight. And it's not a very sort of engaging, fun attitude to kick off a weekend with. So I do appreciate them. They put in a lot of work and they do organize a lot of stuff, and the food might be great, but they're not the fun types that I prefer to be around. What do such people bring out in you that others do not? I suppose it's energy is the big thing. I find that if you're with the right group of people, you think, oh, we could do this, and then we could do that, and we could do the other things, and more stuff happens, and then you give someone else an idea, and then that person runs with it, and then they come back with an idea, and so yeah, you feel energized. And if you do have a lot of work to do, so for instance, when I did the video shoot in the studio a month or two ago, which was a very tiring thing, shooting in 5 hours pretty much straight with 2 camera people and working the lights and trying to concentrate. But you get through it because you're in company with some people who want to be there, who are enjoying themselves and who project that they're enjoying themselves. No one's trying to bring it down. People are trying to add to other people's enjoyment all the time. Yeah, I like being with those kind of people. They give me energy. What can people learn about you by looking at your friends? Well, people tell me that I have an unusually eclectic lot of friends. That is to say, lots of friends who are very different in nature, very diverse. I don't feel that I do, to be honest. And I definitely haven't gone out of my way to collect friends simply because they're different from my other friends. They're just the people I've ended up being friends with. But when I do throw a party, I get several people every time going, you know, an amazing variety of people. Okay, do I? I have Lindy Hop friends, and they tend to be very international, I suppose, and very varied in age. I have wargaming friends and role-playing friends, university friends, childhood friends, family friends. So yeah, a fairly wide spectrum. Apparently, I don't know. It strikes me as normal, but what would I know about normal? But I would think that that's good. And the reason I say that is that there is I don't know how new a fashion this is, but there is this idea that's present on the web that if someone is friends in any way with someone that you disapprove of, you should utterly disown and indeed publicly scorn that person for having that friend. I saw in a thread on Facebook not so long ago, someone who was taking a principled stand. Oh yes, a principled stand. That he said, I judge people by the company they choose to keep. And so he was saying that these people are now persona non grata because they had once been in some way associated with that other person in a very, very pleasant context, I should say. I don't want to describe too much because I don't want to get specific here, but essentially a group of us had a very nice day together. There was lots of bonhomie. There was a great spirit of all for one, one for all. It was terrific. And at the end of that day, someone who was a fellow YouTuber had tweeted or Instagrammed or something. I don't know. He used his telephone in some way that I don't really understand to put a photograph of us together. And by the time I got home, oh my goodness, so much fecal matter had hit the whirling thing. And because he had discovered because people had told him, people who saw his posts, that one of the group of people there who were all getting on absolutely fine had in some time past said something that was in some way wrong, and that therefore we had to completely disown each other and the event. Well, I don't feel that way. I would in fact go the other way. If I meet someone and he's got fundamentalist, hard lefty commie friends and reactionary, aristocratic friends and public school friends and state school friends and old friends, young friends, friends of all sorts of different religions, I would think, well, he gets on with absolutely everyone. He must be a nice guy. That's what I would think, rather than, oh dear, he's not very discerning, because that person there might be the sort of person who some years ago might have said something that's now considered wrong, although at the time was considered fine, and therefore I should disown this. But no, I don't feel like that at all. I think if you can get on with a wide variety of people, that's probably good, isn't it?